Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're older, why don't you come over and go back in time with me? 90s babies nostalgia.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is 90s Babies Nostalgia, where a couple of 90s babies rewatch and sometimes watch for the first time tween entertainment from the early 2000s.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by or affiliated with any of the things we talk about, the actors, the channels, the streaming services. We just really, really love talking about TV. And today we're talking about
The Sweet Life
of Zack and
Cody.
Cody, season
3,
part what?
1. We're going to be covering select episodes within the first half, which is episodes 1 through 11.
Can you believe that we're at season 3?
Can you believe that we're not done with it yet? We did 5 episodes on season 2.
We had a lot to say.
So yes, I can believe we're on season 3.
I feel like this is low-key the fastest we've gotten through a show, though, even though we've taken like breaks to do Young Royals and stuff. I'm like, I don't know, part of me is like, whoa, we're gonna be done soon. Like, it feels kind of crazy.
I do agree with that. For some reason, this one feels faster than Phil, even though logically it's not.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad that we're almost done with it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna miss it.
Fair. Also, you watch all the episodes. I don't watch all the episodes, and I don't think I'm gonna miss it. I'm not going back for another rewatch anytime soon.
No. And for anyone listening, we did, we did like 2 or 3 episodes on season 1. We did like 5 on season 2. And then season 3, for some reason, has the fewest number of episodes. It's only 22. So we're doing these 2, and then we're going to do a wrap up to really collect all our thoughts if you want to know why we are talking such shit right now.
Yes. Before we get into that, though, what have you been listening to or enjoying lately?
As of recording this, I recently finished One Day on Netflix, which everyone finished 1 to 2 months ago. I know I'm behind, but if you live under a rock and haven't seen it, it's a Netflix miniseries or a limited series. There's 12 episodes. Most of them are about 25 minutes. It's a very easy watch. It's based on a book. There has been a movie. I've heard the movie's not very good. And it's a slow burn romance where you see one day, the same day, in these two people's lives for like 20 years as their lives converge and then separate and they become friends and they fight and all of this. And it gets really, really sad at the end. And I knew that going into it. And then I cried for the entire 40-minute episode. And it was the first time I cried in 3.5 years. And it was also because I was feeling manic that day and I needed an emotional release. But I'm still thinking about it sometimes because I cried a lot. I had puffy eyes the next day.
Sometimes you need a good cry.
And I really did. And I really recommend it.
I have it on my list.
Good. You should. There was a character I was like, is this person hot or are they just Scottish? And I thought you would appreciate that. There's a lot of
Sometimes
accents.
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. I knew you would. What about you, Jess?
I'm going to go more generic. I am just like loving Gen Z / festival makeup trends. We're getting into festival season, plus just like with Euphoria and just Gen Z cuties just doing whatever they want on their face. I have been using a lot more gems and glitter in my makeup looks in the last like 2 years, but I recently bought a face stamp, which is like an eyeliner in a shape, and I just stamped little stars on my face last night before going to a concert, and it brought me so much joy every single time I saw my face. It was so fun and so cute, and just like, we should all be putting crazy things on our face all the time.
And you looked so good. It's so cute.
It was so easy to use, too. I don't want to like plug the product, but just in general, like, I think what I've been enjoying is just like experimenting with makeup. Like, you want some cute little shapes on your face? Why not?
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those trends that's like come around because I remember in middle school, I would sometimes wear blue eyeliner.
Mm.
And that was like a time when we would experiment a little bit as like pop punk was more popular. We all were like
Mhm.
learning our eyeliner. And then now lately, especially for our age range, the last few years and since the pandemic has been very like the no makeup look and like natural, and the younger people with their fun, fresh makeup, like, that's where it's at. Like, we should be playing.
Yeah.
It's literally called make up because it is made up. We're just making up what we're doing.
Yes. I originally was just going to put the little stars on my face last night, but then I had the little jewels and I added it. And I was like, this is more is more. Sometimes more is more. Like,
Yeah.
just keep putting it on. Like, it was so fun. And even though I'm more basic makeup today, I do agree. Sometimes I'm like, this trend of the no makeup look for our age, I'm like, it's boring. I'm over it.
Yeah. Well, I love that for you. I love that you're exploring and having fun with it.
Yeah. Well, let's get into season 3, baby. It aired June 23rd, 2007 through September 1st, 2008. Before we get into the episodes that we're covering, there is some new recurring characters to season 3. We have Giovanni Samuels as Nia Moseby, who's Moseby's niece who comes to work at the hotel. She's known for all that. She played Betty Jane in Country Cousins episodes of That's So Raven. She was in Bring It On All or Nothing. And then she actually recently came back to play Betty Jane again in Raven's Home.
Giovanni Samuels is also in Quiet on Set, and she just fucking carries season 3 of Sweet Life, which made me feel bad that I almost forgot that she was in Sweet Life. We also get Millicent is the new candy counter girl along with Nia, played by Cara Tates, who has done a few things, not that much, and Wayne Wormsby, who is the manager of the market where they work, which is all stuff I will explain to Jess later because she doesn't know what I'm talking about, played by Jared Doplays. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, and he's mostly done a lot of guest star roles.
And then we only covered a couple of these episodes, but we get a plot line where Maddie is at camp as a camp counselor. We'll get into that in a little bit. But we get her campers, which come back as recurring characters. So we have Sierra Ramirez, who plays Jasmine, who is Kathy on The Secret Life of the American Teenager, as well as plays Mariana Foster in The Fosters and Good Trouble. Hannah Leigh Dworkin as Amy. Jalen Palmer as Leah, who was on Yours, Mine's, and Ours and guested a few episodes of Hannah Montana. And then we have Sammy Hanratty as Holly, who we saw in season 2 of Sweet Life during the Have a Nice Trip episode. And then she more recently is in Yellow Jackets.
Where did you get Sammy? I just know of her as Samantha Hanratty.
So now everything she's credited in is Samantha Hanratty, but she is credited as Sammy Hanratty for Sweet Life.
Aha.
So I think that was like a child nickname, and maybe now she professionally goes by Samantha, but back then she professionally went as Sammy.
Got it. And of note, Ashley Tisdale is like in and out of this season because she was busy filming High School Musical 2, which is why we get Millicent and Nia. It's a weird season, guys, but I'm going to get into that wrap up later. First, we'll just go through these episodes that I picked for us. So, episode 1, graduation. So Cody and Barbara are both in the running for valedictorian for their middle school graduation, and they're like being mean to each other, but like in a flirty way, competing. Cody is granted valedictorian. Zack finds out, meanwhile, that he's not graduating and has to go to summer school because he failed English. And he's like about to tell Carrie, but then Kurt shows up and is all excited for his son. So Zack then comes up with this very elaborate plan. He like shoots a spitball at the person so that they say his name, and he uses like a jetpack, and he steals someone's graduation gown and cap, and he just does like a lot of things to get across the stage and steal someone's diploma. But then at their graduation party, Kurt gives them gifts. He gives Cody something like, I don't remember what it was. It was
An
not nearly.
ancient calculator.
Oh, no, it's not. I mean, it's not ancient. He gives him an
Sure.
abacus, which I used
Yeah.
in second grade. Meanwhile, he gives Zach like a full on vintage guitar. And Zach feels bad and admits to his parents that he didn't graduate. And they're disappointed, but also
There's
like,
no punishment.
no.
Our B plot is Sister Dominic shows up to the Tipton lobby and offers London a job for the summer, which, what are you even doing? Of course London doesn't want this job. So Maddie takes the camp counselor job instead, and she shows up, and this camp is literally falling apart. And so she gets introduced to her campers, and Sister Dominic like wands them down upon them coming in, and immediately Maddie's purse is stolen by one of the campers. They give her this welcome gift, and it's a stuffed raccoon, but it like jumps out of the box at her, and she thinks it's a real raccoon, and she's like so stressed out that she calls London to come rescue her. And so London's on her way, gets there, but then a tree falls on the helicopter. So then they have to wait for another helicopter to come pick them up. And Sister Dominic is like, Maddie, I don't have any other camp counselors, so all these girls are going to have to go home if you don't stay. And so she's like, well, as long as you girls behave, I'll stay. And so London leaves, and the moment she sits down on her bed, it goes crumbling to the floor because the girls stole all the screws out of it.
So that's our first episode of season. That's our first episode of season 3. Notes on the A plot.
Are Cody and Barbara like boyfriend, girlfriend? What's happening here?
So like yes, but no, but yes. It's
okay.
Annoying because in this episode they're together and we never see them get together. We see them have like moments, I think, in season 2 where they like go on dates, and then in this one they're together, but then there's later episodes where they're not together, but then there's episodes after that where they are together, and none of that's ever addressed.
Great. Okay, I figured that was the case, but I was hoping for more confirmation on their relationship.
Yeah, major continuity issues.
Yeah. Okay, part of this is Carrie's baking the boys' graduation cake, and she has full, thick flower handprints on her face. And just like, I understand getting like sugar and flour and like baking things on you as you're baking, but like never are you baking and you end up with full handprints on your face.
I know, it's such a bad makeuping moment. Like, just why would you? I guess it's funny, but it's not. I think it would be funnier if it was a little more realistic with just like patches of flour.
Yeah, if she had like some above her eyebrow and it kind of like dusted on her would be funnier because that is more realistic. This was just like so outlandish.
Yeah. You rarely even have flour entirely over all of your hands to then get it on your face.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
Very confusing.
Also, I never went to summer school, so I don't really know the summer school rules. But wouldn't Carrie have to sign something if Zach is in summer school? Like, you would think the fact that he failed and was not graduating, like, Carrie would have been notified.
I don't know about signing something. I never went to summer school either. But he does go to summer school in the next episode. So maybe the notification was coming later. In general, you would think that everyone involved would know a lot sooner than they do.
Yeah. Do you have any other A-plot thoughts?
This is the start of the season that makes no sense. This season has truly, like, I think the writers had so many ideas and none of them were fleshed out for this season because we get like half a dozen new plots and sets and characters. And I think the crux of it comes down to it starting off with summer vacation. I don't know any other show that's done that. Usually they follow the school years. So it's a very interesting little like timeline choice on their behalf.
Yeah, and it makes for some kooky episodes. Our B plot. When Maddie's like, hey, Moseby, I'm going to take this camp counselor job. I'm not going to be here. Is that going to be okay? Moseby acts like it's literally not a big deal. And I'm like, she works the candy counter. Like, she is your only employee that works one part of this store.
She's not the only one, but she's the only one we see.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true.
I don't know if Millicent might be a new hire for this plot line. I think there might be a training moment. Nia for sure, obviously. But there's a point when Maddie comes back where she fights because she like worked for years to get the shift that she has. So I do think there's others. But also in general, like it's an entry-level job. I don't think it'd be that hard for him to just like find a kid that wants a summer job.
Fair. I just like, she knows all the things, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Getting into the hard part of this B plot that really frustrated me. These children are described as inner city kids and then are given personalities of being thieves, of being mischievous, of committing crimes. And just like, why are we doing this?
And only one of them is a person of color, and she's very light-skinned.
I was also going to mention that, yes.
Which isn't to say that it would have been better or worse. Either way, it's just a very weird choice. There's one girl who's like tall for her age, so she's a goth and is physically violent but quiet. There's a girl who is a pathological liar. There's a girl who steals everything. And then I forgot what my description of the last one. Oh, and then the con girl, Samantha Hanratty, who I'm glad is back. And made sense why she stuck out in my mind so much when I saw the episode in season 2. And I was like, she's known as this character. How is it only one episode? And then I saw her and I was like, oh yeah, she's back. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. It gives me like, have you heard of The Program on Netflix? It's a documentary series. It's a series about a private school that was unaccredited. And there's multiple of these types of schools all over the country and the world where parents would send their kids when they're like troubled youth, and they would basically live in isolation. Like they weren't allowed to leave the school. The boys and girls were separated. They weren't allowed to talk to their classmates. They were like punished for every little thing and like very, very traumatized. But a lot of these kids weren't even like bad kids. Not that any kid is inherently bad, but one of them got sent there because she was at a Christian school before and was caught drinking a Smirnoff Ice, and they had a 0 alcohol tolerance policy. And one girl, like, I don't remember why her parents sent her there. I think because she was depressed, and the school gaslit her into like admitting that she had all these drug problems that she didn't have. It's a great documentary series, but it gave me like that kind of vibe of like in a weird way of the way that we have institutions that profit off of the idea of troubled teens.
Yeah. I also just like, not to go on this point too much longer, but as a kid who went to camp and as a kid who was a camp, I was a camp counselor as well, you have children that are inner city youth or children that like come on scholarship, and like this is not the characteristics you see in those children. They may be troubled, they may have issues they're working through, but like they're not being criminals. They just like have different ways of maybe processing things because of the home environment they live in. But I just didn't love this portrayal.
They might just be happy to be there.
Yeah. I wrote down the toothbrush conversation and I don't remember. Oh, the campers are having this conversation about a toothbrush. And one of them's like, well, at least you have a toothbrush. And the other one's like, we only have one to share between all of our family members. And the other person was like, well, we don't even have one. I have to use my grandmother's finger or something. And I was like, what is going on?
That's a recurring bit with them too in the episodes that they're in. Like there's one where they talk about their like boyfriends and husbands and stuff. It is weird, but it always like it's a very improv style where it's like everyone is one-upping the other.
Yeah
I forgot, like when I think about Sweet Life, I never think about the camp plot line, but as soon as it happened I was like, oh yeah, this is totally a thing, and it felt very vivid.
I had the same reaction,
but like so random and out of left field. And it lasts for about 4 episodes at the beginning of the season. And I understand that they had Ashley for a limited amount of time, but I don't understand why half the time that she's in this season is in this camp plotline.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
The only thing that I thought is like maybe they're setting her up to be like, oh, she's at camp all summer. That's why you're not seeing her around the hotel in the other episodes. But they don't really ever set that up, at least not in anything that I watched.
No, they set her up for missing for the semester of school, the first semester of school, but they don't set her up.
Oh.
And then, like, this setup doesn't make sense because then you've introduced a whole new set and characters that you see.
Yeah. But you don't get any closure on any of it.
No. Okay, quotes.
One is, I met your dog and he's an idiot. Made me giggle. Speaking of these girls who just say the most outlandish things, trying to one-up each other, there's one, they were talking about their home situations. And she goes, I live with wolves in a cave and they never share their meat with me.
Pretty sure that's the pathological liar. She's always saying the most ridiculous shit. I attributed this to the parents, but I don't know which part they put. One person says, yeah, graduation picture before mugshot. And the other person said, baby steps, baby steps.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Cody, are you through with your shenanigans? Nope. I think I'm going to shenan again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, getting into the episode that made Jessica text me, what the hell is going on? Episode 4, Super Twins.
I do want to note that this episode was part of Disney Channel's Wish Gone Amiss weekend. So it was like all the different episodes that premiered were all around the premise of a wish.
Wishing on a shooting star. I don't remember what other shows did this besides Hannah Montana, but I know Hannah Montana did because I confirmed.
Zack and Cody see a shooting star and they wish to be superheroes. So when they wake up the next morning, Cody has the power to read people's mind and he has telekinesis, and Zack has super speed. And we learn that Mr. Moseby is a supervillain, the Meanager. And he has ability to shoot laser beams out of his eyes, and the different colored laser beams like do different things. Esteban is his evil sidekick, and then Arwen is also pulled into this to build a laser beam that will amplify Mr. Moseby's powers, called the Adultifier. And the goal of this laser beam is to turn all the children into adults. In order to power the laser, Mr. Moseby needs a diamond, so he goes to London. And Arwen is after Carrie, and Esteban is getting Maddie because he's going to tie her to railroad tracks. I don't really understand why, but that's what's happening.
Both of them are being held hostage by the henchmen so that the twins are distracted so they can't stop Moseby.
Yes. The campers walk in and they see Maddie tied up and are super upset with Esteban because they're like, we were going to tie her up. Why the heck did you do it first? And so then Zack shows up because he knows that Maddie's in trouble. And he unties Maddie with his super speed and then ties up Esteban really quickly. And Cody goes to rescue Carrie from Arwen. And they get away because Carrie pretends to give Arwen a kiss, and then they both sneak away, which I'm like, I don't really know why she needed Cody for that. And London gives the diamonds to Mr. Moseby, and the Adultifier is powered up, but then at the last moment, they put a mirror in front of it, so the laser beam bounces off the mirror back to Moseby, and it turns Moseby into a giant baby. And after this all happens, Zack and Cody have a conversation and they're like, we don't want to be superheroes anymore. This is way too much responsibility. We need to reverse this. And so they get the idea of Zack to run them really fast in reverse so they can go back to when they wished on the shooting star and undo that wish. And so they go back way too far in time and are like in the time of the dinosaurs. And then we see them the next morning. Everything's back to normal. They don't have powers. And Zack and Cody are chatting about everything. And Cody is like, no, that was your dream. Like, you dreamed it all. But Zack still kind of believes that it was all real.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the Cody and Arwen and mom thing was that he used his telekinesis to drop the ropes around her or whatever she was tied up with.
Fair.
You wrote this note, but Cody hears everyone's thoughts and London's narrating her life. in all of her thoughts, like she's thinking left, right, left, right, left, right as she walks, and it's hilarious.
It's really funny because I'm like, this is such accurate writing. Like, this is the thoughts that would be going through London's brain. I wrote this episode as wild and I barely remember it, which is true. Like, I do remember the like brain man I don't know, what is Zach?
Quick something?
Quick boy
fry?
or whatever.
Quick boy, yeah.
I remember that and them in their superhero suits very vaguely, but I did not remember the episode at all. And it was wild and crazy and very outlandish. And it just fit a lot into the 22 minutes. And I'm like, I don't know if we needed to do this much.
Yeah, we maybe didn't need to go to camp and see Maddie.
We didn't need to go to the camp and see Maddie. We also like didn't need to go back to dinosaur time. Like,
I actually do remember it quite well.
yeah.
I felt like this one was on repeat a lot. So when I watched it, I immediately was like, yeah, this is one we have to watch because it stands out, especially the boys in their suits. My favorite part of the episode has to be adult Bob, though. Bob gets hit by the adultifier gun, and he's the only one that does. And he, by the end of the episode, has a very successful insurance company, which, like, fuck insurance, but slay Bob. And he just, like, the way that they do this, they don't use different actors and they don't use special effects. They just put the normal actor in adult clothes, or in Moseby's case, in baby clothes. It's a very interesting choice. So you see Lil Bob's actor in like a suit with his briefcase, and he's talking very like businessman like, and it's very endearing to me.
Yeah. I just really appreciated his briefcase. I thought it was a nice touch.
I think that child actor has good delivery as well. Like in general, I think all of his episodes, he stands out to me.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like he steals the show a lot, even though he doesn't have that many lines. With the episodes that he is in, like I'm thinking of the Midsummer's Night Dream episode, where you're like, yeah, he freaking crushes. Like,
I'm thinking of the one where he pretends to be his sister in the class election.
Yeah. Arwen is delivering this evil ray gun, and it's like giant, and he's like wheeling it through the lobby, and it has this cardboard sign that's just like nothing evil underneath here.
Yeah, that really just highlights how ridiculous this whole episode is. Something I didn't love is that Moseby freezes Cody, and then the next cut we get, Zack has defrosted him, but we don't get to see that happen. Like, it's so tiny. I just would have liked to see it because it felt like a big deal that he froze him, and there was like a commercial break outro there, but then it wasn't a big deal because Zack just immediately defrosted him.
Yeah, and I feels like that would have been a chance for something comedic too, like a comedic way for him to defrost him or something like that. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wrote this that they just showed up to the writer's room and decided to get a little crazy. And I get that Disney sent them on this because they're like, we're going to do this Wish Gonna Miss weekend. But like, this is a wacky episode. Like, I feel like you have to be taking some drugs to write this script because it was wild.
When you think about the fact that the Hannah Montana one was just that she wishes she was Hannah all the time, and this one is this. Like, it's one thing for them to be superheroes, but then for the whole manager adultifier storyline, it's a lot.
Yeah.
I really thought it was funny when Zack pulls a hammy. At one point, he's going to run off, and then he just falls because he forgot to stretch.
Yeah.
I'm confused about some of the timing, though, because you mean to tell me Moseby's already in London's suite, where London is naming and petting her diamonds and polishing them and telling Moseby he needs to ask nicely. And the boys are there. And then Moseby's like, I have Maddie tied up and I have your mom tied up. And the boys go off, rescue them, and come back. And Moseby is just now getting a diamond. How did they pull that off?
Yeah, I'm like, even with super speed involved, like, Zack is not going that fast.
No, and Cody certainly isn't. Then they've stopped Moseby, and Carrie comes in and says the phone has been ringing all night because there's so many people who need saving. And then I'm like, but hasn't she been free for like
an hour?
if that. I was going to say 30 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
the amount of time it took them to stop Moseby is less time than it took them to get the girls. But when they saved the Maddie and Carrie, that was no time for the Moseby. It just didn't make sense, guys.
Yeah.
And I get that I'm reading too much into this because they're literally superheroes in this episode, but I was just a little confused.
Yeah, the timeline does not check out. I just have to mention this. We get a few of these this season, and I just love the episodes where it's one plot. And this isn't all the shows we've watched. I have said this many times, but it's just fun to see all the characters together and really focus. Even though we flash to camp, it still is really one plot going on. And I just really appreciate those episodes.
Yeah, it makes it feel like the larger ensemble cast is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, because you get to see more interactions between characters that you wouldn't normally see in an episode where the plots are split.
One thing I didn't know that I didn't love is that when Zack is running out of the cabin after saving Maddie, Sierra Ramirez says, he's cute, or he was cute, and then he runs back and is like,
Ugh.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Quotes. I think I wrote most of the quotes down for like
Mhm.
most of these episodes, which is fair. It's a weird show in that it's comedic, but it's not super quotable.
Yeah. Agreed.
When Moseby is telling the twins about having Carrie, and first he says he has Maddie, and Zach's like, I'll take care of her. And then he says he has Carrie, and Cody goes, you've got our mommy too? How could you?
Oh,
And I just think Cole's delivery of a lot of his lines make them way funnier than they were written.
yes.
When Arwen has Carrie tied up, he sings, I love Carrie, she's pretty as a fairy. I love Carrie, forgive me if I stary. Everything about Arwen is creepy. I even left out some of his creepier episodes. Carrie asks Cody if he should wear a sweater, and he says, superheroes don't wear sweaters. And she says, they do if it's super cold outside.
So cute.
Yeah.
Next, episode 7.
Sleepover Suite. Guest stars in this one, Megan Jett Martin. Sorry, I was expecting to say Jeanette Martin. Megan Jett Martin as Stacy. Megan is famously from Camp Rock. She plays Tess in that. She's also in the 10 Things I Hate About You TV show. And Rainey Rodriguez as Betsy. Rainey is in Austin and Ally as Trish. This is the point where I was like, literally everyone was in the show at some point. Like,
Yes,
also when we got Sierra
everyone.
Ramirez, that's when I first was like, okay, so everyone has been in the show.
Yeah, like I thought we got some crazy people in Raven, and we did, but in terms of like a Disney extended universe, we truly got everyone in Sweet Life.
Yeah. And if you think of Sierra at first, it feels weird, but then you remember the Fosters and Good Trouble are ABC.
Yep.
Which is Disney. So, a plot. London is out on a trip to, I think, the Highlands in Scotland. And
Scotland.
Zack and Cody are pet sitting Ivana for her, but they break this dramatic ass bust that London's had made of herself in marble while playing fetch. And so they're gonna come up with money to get it fixed is their idea. Then they're down in the lobby and they see Stacy talking to Moseby with her mom about how the hotel can't host her sleepover for her birthday because all of the suites are booked up because no one thought to ask the hotel before the day of the party. And
Do
Zack
not get me started on that.
And Zack is like, Cody, we've got a plan. They immediately step in somehow without Moseby noticing and wrap Nia into it that they are going to host the party. And Moseby was wrong. There's actually a suite available. Nia is the activities coordinator. And so they're going to use London's suite to impress Stacy and also make up the money to fix the bust. Of course, the girls want pizza and cake and whatever. So Cody gets to work making all of that in their kitchen because they can't afford to order pizza. Nia's keeping the girls busy. Then London comes back early because she couldn't find the key to her castle, and the boys tell her some lie about how there's exterminators because there's rat roaches in her suite, so she has to sleep at their place, but she can't sleep because Zach's fake white noise sounds aren't good enough, and so she stumbles into her room where Moseby and Carrie also end up being, and everyone finds out about the sleepover. And also, Stacy at one point thinks that Ivana is her birthday present and that this dog is her dog. But the boys fess up. They get in trouble. But then London's like, why didn't you just tell me? I love a slumber party, and host the girls anyway.
Our B plot is there's a barbershop quartet conference at the hotel, and Carrie gets asked out by one of the quartets.
Like, not one person, but
No,
an entire quartet.
Yes. Yes. I thought one of the quartets was clear. Yes, all of them. She doesn't really want to go on the date with them, but the boys like literally shove her out of the front door because they're trying to get shit done for the sleepover. So they're like, Mom, freaking get out of our hair. Leave. Go on your date. She goes on the date and she runs away to London's suite because she's trying to hide from the barbershop quartet because they spent the entire dinner fighting over her. And then at the end of it, Carrie's like, this is not going to work out. I can't date all four of you. And then they decide to become a quintet and have Mr. Moseby join.
Yup. A plot notes.
Your birthday is not a surprise day. You know what day it is. It's on the same day every year. And if you're throwing a big party, you would think, oh, I should book this at least a month in advance. But again, you know what date it is. You could book it 6 months in advance. I don't understand why they show up. At first, I thought it was day of, but then I actually think it was maybe like the day prior or 2 days prior.
Yeah, but it's no more than 48 hours.
Yes, and be shocked that a luxury hotel is sold out. Like, what?
Yeah, a luxury hotel.
Yes.
This is like a Ritz-Carlton wannabe.
Yes.
I mean, technically it's a Hilton wannabe, but it's fancier than a Hilton. Yeah, it's poor planning. And this happens a lot. There's an episode we don't watch where the twins, like, book a convention the day of.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. The event manager in me is like, that is my worst nightmare.
The episode before this is when Nia is introduced, which we're not covering, but we don't see her interact with the twins at all in her introduction episode. And then very quickly, she just falls straight into this plan. And I do like the moments in the show where she interacts with the twins, and we'll go over another episode later. But it was strange to me, kind of surprising, like how quickly she was able to fall into their cadence.
Yeah, and especially because I didn't watch the episode where she was introduced. I remembered her as a character, so I wasn't surprised by it. And I remembered this episode, but I was kind of like, oh, they really just threw her in.
Yeah. They have an introduction as to why she's there, but all of her storyline in her first episode is with Moseby and London. We don't see her interact with the twins at all before this episode. So it's kind of weird. Also, I did write the note here of like Cody's with Barbara before and suddenly he's crushing on Stacy. I don't understand.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And even if we were to look at production order, guys, 301 was production order 301. And this one, which is episode 7, was production order 307. So it still doesn't make sense even when you look at production order.
And there are multiple episodes in this season about Cody and Barbara's relationship, and we're going to go over some of them, not all of them. But I can tell you with confidence, there is never one where they break up. There is never, like, that's not even a thing where maybe, like, it's not a Ross Geller, we were on a break situation. If anything, maybe they should have broken up in the graduation episode to be like, it's summer, we're going to see other people.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens.
Completely unrelated. I wrote down Cody, but in my brain, I'm like, maybe it was Zach, because this would make more sense. But one of them was wearing a shirt that was giving Ed Hardy. I actually think based on the time this show came out, it probably was Ed Hardy. But it was like a button up with like flames and skulls, and it was bright colored, and I was like, oh, this is really just telling of the fashion of the time.
I didn't know what that was, but I'm looking it up now, and I absolutely know what you're talking about upon style.
You don't know who Ed Hardy was?
The name was familiar, but I couldn't remember if I knew it was either a designer or a celebrity, and I wasn't sure which one. I think the flame shirt is Zack.
Got it.
I have a mental image of him in a red flame shirt.
Yeah. I think when I was taking notes, I just like wrote down a name real quick. But then when I was rereading them, I'm like, this doesn't make sense character-wise to be Cody, but it makes sense to be Zack.
Girl, my notes, I write Z and C and
Smart.
Lun and Mad and Moz, and it's a nightmare in my head when I read them.
Fair.
So Cody makes everything because they don't have enough money to just order pizza, which is hilarious because in another episode, London orders pizza for $10. So they don't have enough money, but they do have enough ingredients for him to cook, he says, 10 pizzas?
Yeah.
And a cake? In Carrie's kitchen of all kitchens? He doesn't even go down to the actual Tipton kitchen.
No. That oven can fit 2 pizzas in it at one time, tops.
I'm just very confused.
Yeah, I didn't know. It's not possible.
I did think it was very funny that London said she needs a white noise machine to sleep because that felt ahead of its time. Because I feel like everyone needs a white noise machine now.
Yes. That was like one of the most popular requests at the hotel. Humidifier in the room and white noise machine. Like so many people need one. And at first I'm like, what? But I guess if it works for you.
I felt like they didn't get that popular until like 2017 or so.
Yeah, that's probably right. Towards the end of this episode, to provide a distraction to everything going on, Zack just starts kissing multiple girls from this sleepover without consent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not okay and it's not funny.
Nope. And they almost handle it okay, but not really. So he very quickly kisses Rainy Rodriguez, and she blushes and stumbles back. Never seen them interact before. Whatever. She seems smitten. That's gross. Then another girl comes out. He very quickly kisses her. And the part where they like almost make it okay the way they handle it is that then the new girl and Rainy Rodriguez both slap him. But why did he do that anyway? And this one I was on the fence about assigning for a while. And it was when this moment happened that I was like, all right, we're going to talk about this one.
Yeah. And to me, it's like the slap was because they were annoyed that he kissed multiple girls. But I'm like, this slap should also be because he kissed both of you without fucking asking for consent. He just like went in.
Yep. It's gross. He's just doing it so that they like stumble back and stay in the closet. And we never see him talk to any of these girls.
I hated it.
I just wonder how many actors and actresses got their first kisses on this show because there's actually a surprising amount of kissing for a Disney show.
I think the most kissing of any of the shows we've watched so far.
Definitely of any of the shows that we've watched, but I think of any of the shows. Like Hannah and Wizards had like a couple kisses ever. If they had people who kissed repeatedly, it would be like Lily and Oliver because they were dating for an entire season.
Yeah, it just was it's a strange choice. I don't know why no one questioned it on set. Yeah.
Do you think it's because they're male leads?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
The amount of kisses, yeah.
Yeah, and flirting and talking about dating. It feels even more than most of the shows with female leads.
Mm-hmm.
My last note is that Disney Plus auto-loaded and played the next episode during the middle of the end credit scene, and I'm not mad about it because I was so over this episode by then.
Fair. The B plot, Carrie at the end when she's in the suite and the quartet shows up and she's like, this is not going to work out because I can't date all 4 of you. She first starts it with, this is not going to work out because I'm a Virgo and she lists off all of theirs. Like, you're a Leo, Pisces, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And that is just a bad combination. And I just felt like the use of zodiac signs as a reason that she couldn't date was a very like 2020 move. So I liked that it was included in this 2007 plot.
Very gay too.
Yeah.
Also, my note is just, this is the weirdest fucking B plot ever. It's the weirdest fucking plot. What do you mean this one woman is going on a date with 4 men at the same time and they're all best friends and they're all fighting over her and they sing every single thing and they're singing about how she has to choose one of them even though they do everything together. What in the polyamorous, like, I don't understand why they thought that this was what they wanted to do.
Yeah. You know, I agree it was weird, but I didn't hate it.
It wasn't inherently as offensive as it could have been. I find the majority of this season, the majority of Carrie's screen time, she's the butt of the joke, whether it's about her weight or her dating life. And this one did lean into the dating life a bit, where they were like, well, you haven't been on a date in so long. But it, like, it wasn't gross. It was just very strange. I think it's like the weirdest thing I've ever seen on a kid's show. Is this one woman being forced by her teenage sons to go on a date with 4 men at once.
I think that's the part, is that she's being forced by her teenage sons to do this.
It's the strangest thing.
Yeah.
Conceptually. When you're watching it, you're like, whatever, it's the sweet life. But conceptually, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Quotes?
I think when Cody's making pizza, he goes pesto, and then Zach goes, what so?
Megan's character, her favorite word is fantabulous. She calls everything fantabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Which, whereas we say some things feel a little like 2020, that felt very 2006.
Yes. And I wrote it down and I was like, isn't this a Nick show? But then I realized that was unfabulous. Not fantabulous. Only kiss one girl per party unless one goes home. And that, I'm pretty sure, was Cody's advice to Zach. And I do have to say, even though I thought him kissing multiple girls at the same party without consent was terrible, if you are kissing people with consent and you're maybe not 15 and like 20, this is actually good advice. Only kiss one person per party unless the other person goes home. Then maybe you could kiss another person.
I'm pretty sure at the end, Carrie's like, did you learn anything? And that's what Zach says he learned.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. When they're talking about the party and it being up in the suite and Cody's overthinking, Zach says, there's one cute girl waiting for you and 5 waiting for me. And then when they're getting punished by Carrie, she says, no TV to Zach and then no oven to Cody for a month. And she does it without skipping a beat. And I just thought it was really funny that that's Cody's punishment.
It's also like, Carrie, you can't cook. So I'm pretty sure the only person that cooks in this household is Cody. So I feel like that's also a punishment for her.
Yeah, but it reminded me of like when I was a kid and I would be like, great, how are you going to punish me? Send me to my room where I'm going to read books. That's what I do all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? Because my mom would struggle because it's like, what are you going to do? Take away my books?
Yeah. Fair.
Episode 9?
Lip syncing in the rain.
Guest stars for this one
is Mitchell Whitfield as Mr. Blaine. He played Barry in Friends and the voice of Donatello in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And then Mark Indelicato as Antonio, who is Justin on Ugly Betty. Cody is auditioning for the school play High School Musical. He wants the part of Troy, and Maddie wants the part of Sharpay because everyone tells her she looks like her. Cody gets the part of Troy, and Maddie gets Sharpay's understudy because she's too nice to play Sharpay. And London gets the part of Sharpay, which we learn is because Mr. Tipton is funding the theatrical run of the theater teacher Mr. Blaine's musical that he wrote called Floss. So London is not so great and she needs all the help she can get. So she goes to Carrie for some singing practice, and then she goes to Moseby to help her with her dancing. They're all practicing for opening night, and we see Antonio, who plays the part of Ryan, practicing with London, and he gets fed up. He's like, she's going to make me look bad. This is going to ruin my theater career. Okay, 15-year-old.
Well, he has scouts coming.
Oh, yeah, he does have scouts coming. Still kind of crazy. And he does not want to perform with her, and everyone agrees. Everyone's like, yeah, London freaking stinks. And then Mr. Blaine learns that Mr. Tipton will be at the show. And so they're like, oh my gosh, we have to make sure London is good if her dad is showing up. So they decide that London is going to be out on stage doing all the lines. But for the singing portion, Maddie will be behind the curtain singing everything for London, and London will just lip sync. The show's going well, but Zach he had to do detention, and one of the options was to work backstage, so he's working backstage. He decides that everyone needs to know that it's actually Maddie singing, and so he goes to drop one of the curtains, but it falls on Antonio, and then he like runs off stage and wants to quit. And then Maddie's on stage, and then this is a part where I swear I blacked out, because all of a sudden everyone is just on stage performing together, and that's how our episode ends, right?
Wait, so okay, the curtain falls and Antonio quits. Maddie, because Antonio quits, Maddie starts singing Ryan's part instead of Sharpay's. She tells London sing, and London's like, I'm bad, and she's like, just sing, just trust me. London kind of sings, and then because they're doing well and the crowd enjoys it, Antonio's like, wait a second, I want my moment. So he runs out on stage as well, and then I think maybe the twins do. I'm not entirely sure. And then the end credit scene is the twins, Antonio, Maddie, and London doing floss and like two pairs going off at once.
At the beginning of this episode, they're acting like this is Cody's first time ever auditioning for anything, and like, is he nervous? Is he prepared? All these things. And I'm like, we already had an entire play episode.
I agree. I wrote the exact same note. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, it's so pointless. Because they're like, oh, you don't try out for the theater. You audition and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, bruh, we know.
Yeah, we already covered this.
It would be one thing if these were in the same season, but they're not. So, like, it's just lazy writing at that point.
Totally.
I enjoyed at the beginning when they don't know what show they're going to do. Cody is saying that he hopes that they do Agamemnon because of something about Agamemnon and Clytemnestra. And like, I literally did not know who they were until a couple months ago when I read a new retelling of Clytemnestra, and like, love that. Would not have known as a kid watching this who they were, but it was fun as an adult to be like, I know who those are.
And I do think that's something Disney does well, is they will throw in things for adults. So that's what's fun doing, I feel like, our rewatch sometimes, is you're like, oh, this was like a reference or a joke for the parents watching and not necessarily for the children watching. Okay, we get into timeline issues, y'all.
Speak on it. Speak on it.
The next episode that we are going to cover is titled First Day of High School. But they are in high school. This whole thing is the High School Musical.
The production codes are the reason why. We get that. It was written and produced at a different timeline. However, it was aired in this timeline. Furthermore, Ms. Maddie Fitzpatrick does not officially come back until the 13th episode of this season. And this episode is 9.
It doesn't make sense. I was so confused. I'm like, where are we? What is this school? Who? Everyone's in school together? And we'll cover this in the next one, but I'm like, Maddie and London aren't at
Our Lady of Perpetual Sorrow?
Yes.
I know. I was like, why are they going to this school now? Why are they all in the same school?
Yeah. So confusing. It really, a lot of it is explained in the next episode, but not all of it. Something I did enjoy, and this is like one of the memeable moments of Sweet Life, is the Maddie Sharpay bit of it all, where like Maddie's big thing in this episode is she's just like, everyone tells me I look like Ashley Tisdale. Like, everyone tells me I look like Sharpay. I should get the part of Sharpay. And every single person she interacts with is like, huh, really? I don't see it. And it's just hilarious.
It's so memorable that that's the whole reason I assigned this episode.
Yep.
Even at one point, someone says that Cody looks like Zac Efron. And then she's like, but I don't look like Ashley Tisdale.
Yeah.
So she sings for London, but what about the dancing? Because London's supposed to also...
same thought.
Because London's supposed to also stink at dancing, and I like, they have this whole thing where they're like, Maddie's doing all of the work, and like the people need to know, and I'm like, dancing is also work.
Yeah. And also, like, when Antonio gets upset when they're rehearsing, it's because her dancing is bad. Like, she bumps into him and bumps him off. It's not the singing. So I was like, I don't know why our solution is to, like, also she was bad at the singing, but it's like our only solution is for Maddie to sing, but that doesn't solve the other half of the issue we had.
Yeah, because Moseby helps teach her to dance, but if Carrie didn't help her sing, then how did she, like, I'm sure she didn't retain it that well, but apparently she did. And, like, let's give London credit.
Sure. Yeah, she did do it. My other thing is that Maddie has so much hair in this episode, and I understand that maybe it's for her to look more Sharpay-esque to prove the point, but we go from her like normal amount of hair, and I swear she's wearing like 7 pounds of clip-in extensions.
She had a lot of hair in season 2 already. We noted it, that, like, half of her hair was not her hair. But when she comes back,
It's now 2/3 of her hair is not her hair.
yeah, I think in the camp episodes, she looks like the Maddie we're used to. But when she comes back from Antarctica, every episode thereafter, production code wise, so that includes this one, she has the most burnt orange spray tan and 3 times the hair. It's like she's in full on Sharpay High School Musical 2 makeup and costuming all the time, and it's very jarring as Maddie Fitzpatrick.
Yes, it does not fit.
It's not just this episode. I really enjoyed when Carrie is teaching Lyndon how to sing, and she's like, "How would I remember all of those, like fa sol la do re mi fa sol la ti do?" She's like, "How would I remember all of that?" And so she makes it up where every single thing that is in there is about money, like dough, money, and uh, I don't remember the other ones, but every single thing is about money except for T, my favorite vowel. Question, did Maddie deserve the role of Sharpay?
We never really saw their auditions or anything, so I don't know if I can say,
We
but
did.
like, oh, we did?
She sings Bop to the Top, and London sings
Oh.
London Tipton's really great, really
Really
great,
great,
really great.
really great.
London Tipton's really great and deserves the opposite of love, which is hate. Or no, and deserves
So,
the opposite of hate, which is love.
love. Yeah. Okay, that is true. Based on the auditions we saw, yes, she deserves the part over London.
Yeah. But the whole, like, I don't know, I just was, like, annoyed, and also I thought it was really funny that the logic of, like, she's too nice when all we do is talk about how mean she is.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't think she's that nice.
No. I got the joke of obviously she is Sharpay, and therefore it's funny that she's not playing Sharpay, but I wasn't like, you like, no one inherently deserves anything.
Sure, and just because she looks like Sharpay, I don't think she should get it. But also, it's like, compared to London, she was better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if those are our two options, which they were the only ones presented to us, then she does deserve it over London.
Sure, but then she doesn't support her friend until the very end. She's just like, "Blah, blah, blah, you suck." Also, why did Disney insist on only using one single song from High School Musical?
And why was it Bop to the Top?
Because that's Sharpay's song. But we heard Bop to the Top like 3 times.
Yeah.
And I didn't need it.
No, I didn't either.
I like Bop to the Top. It's a decent song. I didn't need it 3 times.
Getting into quotes, and speaking of the Carrie teaching London how to sing, to remember law, London goes, law is something you get to break if you're rich. And I just, yep, facts.
One of Antonio's quotes is, "I love the theater when it gets catty," which felt very theater kid.
Yes.
And then I already sang the song, but this is the intro of London's, or it's the first time we hear the London Tipton's Really Great song, which then becomes her theme song for her web show that happens later in this season. And I enjoy it. And then a line that I didn't like is when Carrie's like, "Do you know your scales?" And she's like, "Yeah, you just step on it and subtract 5 pounds," which is something I was kind of told was, well, subtract a pound or 2 depending on what you're wearing or the time of day. But anyway. Sorry, probably shouldn't have been the final quote, but episode 10,
first day of high school.
Guest stars, because everyone was on this freaking show.
Yes, we get Kay. Oh, that is written wrong, but it's Kay Panabaker
as Amber. She was Debbie in Phil of the Future, as well as in Breed It and Weep, and like a million other DComs, and is just like a Disney icon. Kathy Najimy as Miss Militich, the principal. She was in Sister Act, but Sister Mary in Hocus Pocus is the most famous one. She's also been in The Bride of Chucky, King of the Hill. Like, she's done a lot of work.
Yep. Getting into it, Zack and Cody arrive at high school, and Zack immediately is distracted by all of the hot girls. And so he goes up and talks to Amber, and she mentioned she's a sophomore, so they can't be together because he's too young. But he continues to flirt with her, and then her boyfriend Vance shows up, and he's like the big bully, and he catches Zack with his arm around Amber, and so he puts Zack in the trash can, and Nia sees this happen and ends up standing up for Zack and fights Vance and ends up pushing him into like a ladder with a giant pan of blue paint. Zack and Nia then get called into the principal's office, and Carrie and Mr. Moseby are also there because they have to be there for Zack and Nia, and they just end up arguing with one another the whole time, and the principal does a lot of like and making sure that people are shutting up and paying attention to her. Then we see Vance starting to bully Cody in class, and Bob stands up for Cody, even though in this episode I didn't write it, but like Bob is like, now that we're in high school, I'm going to be a jock. So he's kind of like lightly making fun of Cody and like trying to be someone that he's not. And in this moment, we see him kind of stand up for Cody. And then Cody ends up jumping on Vance, which then gets them in trouble as well. So they get called into the principal's office. We do see Amber apologize to Zack, and she's like, he's so terrible. I broke up with him. We're not together anymore. But we can't be a thing because you're a baby and I can't be seen with a baby. But she does agree to tutor Zack on Saturday. And now that we're going to get into the B plot, but Mr. Moseby and Carrie are back at school for a second time in the same day because Cody and London are both in trouble. Everyone gets detention, and in detention, we see Vance starting to go out with Nia, and then London pays someone to attend for her, which is just really funny because it's like a boy who's wearing like a sparkly scarf in the back.
Yeah, as part of the B plot, which is London has been expelled from Our Lady of Perpetual Sorrow for not attending class. So she has to go to public school because there aren't any private schools in Boston left that she hasn't been expelled from. And Nia the whole time is like, don't be a princess. Don't be a princess. And she's like, I will pay everyone to be my friend. And so she pays everyone to be her friend. But of course, they're not really her friends because she's just paying them. So as soon as she gets in trouble because she bought a big chunk of lockers off of people and is renovating them into her lounge, and the principal finds out and is mad at her, her friends like immediately throw her under the bus because she can't even remember their names. So they're like, we're not your friends. Like, you did this. And so she gets in trouble and has to go to detention as well. And one of those notes in there was someone was like, I'll attend your classes for you. And she was like, you don't look like me, but so-and-so does. And it's this other Asian boy. And that's who is in detention in her clothes, but has a very deep voice. And that's the episode.
As part of this episode, we see the principal, Miss Militich, and Cody have this weird, like, she wants to meet him because she's like, oh, I've heard great things about you. You're an excellent student. But then they both start talking about bird watching and make plans to go bird watching together and are like cawing at each other in the hallway and stuff. And it just made me extremely uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it. It was weird. And also, I'm like, I don't know if we should be showing like an adult principal like making plans outside of school with a teenage boy.
I think the making plans I glossed over mentally. The rest of it I didn't mind, but making plans is weird. Was it that concrete?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Yeah, I think that's the part that mostly made me uncomfortable. The rest just made me feel cringe.
Yeah, valid.
Yeah.
I do think it's a shame, though, that they only got Kathy Najimy for this one episode. I really liked the principal character overall. She stood out to me as a guest star, and Whereas this season has so many different new recurring characters and new sets and new plot lines. Like, I would have really enjoyed if they just spent more time in the school and we had this principal character more often.
Yeah, me too. I really liked her.
She's hilarious.
Yeah. Cody says in this episode to never salt your soup until you taste it. That's something he learned. No, it's not true. You should salt your ingredients as you add them to something. Things should cook with seasoning. You should not cook everything and then salt it after.
Valid. This is the coolest Kay's ever looked. I really enjoyed this look on her. Normally, she looks like a little more of like a goody-goody preppy girl, but in this episode, she had a fair bit of eye makeup and looked a little more edgy, and I enjoyed it. That was an unimportant note. Although, on the point of Kay and her character, isn't it kind of weird that she doesn't mention that she has a boyfriend? She's just like, you're too young for me.
Yeah, instead of being like, I'm already taken.
Yeah. And
It is
also
strange.
that she's a straight A student and he's a straight C student, but they're in science class together?
I didn't catch that, but yeah, weird.
Yeah. I did really like that Nia stands up for Zack. This is one of those episodes where we see them interact, and I think that the energy that Giovanni brings to Nia kind of meshes well with the twins' energy.
Yeah, and it's like immediate. She doesn't even question it. She sees what happens and she like goes in there and starts to stand up for them, which is really cool.
Yeah.
We already mentioned that London was kicked out of every private school in Boston, but I have a question. So we know the reason that London is not going to Her Lady of Perpetual Sorrow anymore.
Mhm.
But why doesn't Maddie go there anymore?
We don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. We get the explanation that she's in Antarctica for a semester abroad for the first semester, and aside from that, we don't get an explanation as to why she has switched schools.
Interesting. Okay.
And we never see her in the school set. We only see her like in the musical episode.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this is the one where we find out Maddie's doing a semester in Antarctica, very random. There's this weird recurring bit that they do in Nia's first episode, episode 6, and also in this episode, where when she and London are interacting, London kind of throws in like an AAVE type thing, where in this one she does this like head bob and like a power fist, and at one point she calls her sister, I think in this episode 6, and both times we're laughing at London because she's being so cringe, because Nia does say, don't do that.
Yeah.
But I like that she said, don't do that. I think that makes it better. But it's kind of an interesting choice.
Mm-hmm. We both wrote down one quote for this one. I wrote down, that's not true, but as a matter of fact, you're my favorite subject.
I think your quote is a response to my quote.
Yep.
So hers was Zack, and mine is Kay
Amber.
Amber saying, I'm calculus and you're pre-calculus. And Zack says, why bring science into this? It's math and we just don't add up.
Yeah.
Which, actually, if you're going to choose math, those are like the dumbest ones to choose. If you're going to say we don't add up, like you have to take pre-calc before you can go to calculus because you have to learn the foundations of calculus.
Yeah.
Like they literally add up.
Yeah, I think she's saying that like
he's the one before. He's the baby.
Yes.
Yeah. I get it. But just like, I don't know, calculus and statistics or something. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's silly. Any other final thoughts, Jess?
No, I think we're ready to get into shout outs. This is where Amanda kind of talks about other like plot lines and things that are not in the episodes that were covered here or in the episodes that I watched.
So shout out to the sheer volume of random plot lines, sets, and characters that I have spared you from. In episode 2, Summer of Our Discontent, Cody gets a job at the Paul Revere mini mart. So we get a whole new set of a mini market and the manager of it, who also has a creepy crush on Carrie. We get that in episodes 2, 3, 5, and 6, the mini mart. Cody and Zack both end up working there.
Oh.
Yeah, and that's where Wayne is introduced. He's the manager. That's episode 2 is also where Millicent is introduced. She's like the shy, awkward Maddie replacement. Zack goes to summer school for exactly one episode in the Summer of Our Discontent. And in that episode, the summer school teacher is, I don't remember the actress's name, but she plays Mrs. Benson in iCarly, Freddie's mom. Episode 3, Sink or Swim, actually introduces my favorite subplot of this season that I completely took away from you because all of the episodes that they were in, unfortunately, were entirely negligent. But Sink or Swim, London and Lance start dating, which is then, I know, it's really cute, actually.
Wait, I love that. I'm so sad.
So he teaches her how to swim in Sink or Swim.
And
then
sweet.
In episode 5, she introduces him to her snooty friends, and he feels out of place, so he like tries to be proper for her for a formal event, and then she like shows up to the event in like pool floaties and stuff to like they like try to like meet in the middle. It's very sweet. But then in episode 8, they break up because he falls in love with a mermaid at a restaurant, and so she dresses up as a mermaid, but then he also is very mature and realizes that like they have nothing in common, and she realizes it by the end. She's like, you're a water sign and I'm a dollar sign. So they're only in 3 episodes, and one of them is them getting together, and one of them is them breaking up.
Fair that you didn't cover those, but I am a little sad about it.
Yeah, it was like the A plots did not matter, but those were all the B plots.
Cute.
Episode 5, Who's the Boss, has Alexa Nicholas, who we've mentioned before, plays one of London's friends. Episode 6 is the introduction of Nia, as we've mentioned multiple times. So her character is this like troubled niece of Mr. Moseby that has spent the summers with different aunts and uncles, and each one of them kind of gave up on her. And so she's come to spend the summer with Moseby to sort of get her head put on straight, is how they put it. And she's always looking to make a quick buck, which is why she quickly becomes friends with London, why she falls in with the twins and their schemes. And she messes up really hard in that first episode, and she's like ready to be sent back home, and he's like, no, I'm not giving up on you. Like I said, I promised your mom I would try my best, and that's gonna happen, but you're gonna also shape up. And that really is something she appreciates. As always, I just need to point out that I find it interesting this like troubled youth narrative is on the Black character, but I really enjoy her as a character. I think Giovanni did her best with her.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange to me that she was only there for the summer and then she was there for school, but it's mentioned, I think, in the first day of high school episode that like Moseby agreed to let her stay for school.
Yeah, as long as she didn't get into any fights, I think is what the agreement was. Yeah.
Yeah. And then episode 11 of Clocks and Contracts is just one where Zack negotiates Carrie's contract, and I feel like him in his little suit with his hair slicked back is a very like famous Zack look that sticks out in my brain.
Cute.
So what's next?
We're going to finish the second half of season 3 before we get into kind of our Sweet Life as a whole wrap-up episode. So in that one, we're going to cover episodes 12, 18, 21, and 22. So if you want to watch along with us, go ahead and rewatch those episodes. As always, please, please, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really, really helps. If you want to follow us, we are on YouTube and Instagram at 90s Babies Nostalgia. Spell out the word 90s. We're also on TikTok, but use the numbers there. And just like send us a comment, send us a DM. We love talking to you. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.